Rain never fell that night in Stockton, California, and yet, people still say it felt like the sky was crying. Inside a modest event hall on East Hammer Lane, soft balloons brushed against each other, ribbons swayed in the faint breeze of an air conditioner. And a 2-year-old's laughter echoed beneath the warm glow of string lights. Families had gathered to celebrate something simple, pure, and universal: a child's birthday. A day meant for joy. A day that should have been safe. Parents carried plates of food across plastic tables. Children chased each other around the dance floor, their shoes squeaking on the polished linoleum. Someone plugged in a speaker, a song burst to life. A mother adjusted her daughter's tiara. A father tied a balloon to his son's wrist, the knot a little too tight, but the child didn't care if the balloon danced for him. For a few precious moments, there was only innocence inside that room, no violence, no fear, no hint that anything in the world could go wrong. But on the other side of the wall, in the cold November night, a different atmosphere brewed. 2 cars rolled slowly past the parking lot. Their engines were quiet, too quiet. Witnesses later said the vehicles didn't look out of place, not until they stopped, not until the doors opened, not until shadows spilled out onto the pavement like something torn from a nightmare. The figures moved with purpose, heads down, faces hidden. They didn't hesitate. They didn't tremble. They didn't care that inside the building, the air was filled with the sound of children singing. At 8:17 p.m., the first shot cracked through the night. Inside the hall, the music faltered, just for a second. A father turned toward the door, confused, expecting firecrackers, maybe a car backfiring. But then came the second shot. The third. And then dozens more, raining like hammer blows against the flimsy walls of the building. The windows burst inward, glass ripping across tables. Balloons popped in violent unison, the bright colors falling like wounded birds. People screamed. Children froze as adults dove to shield them. A mother grabbed her toddler and ran for the kitchen, her footsteps slipping on the floor now scattered with glass and dropped birthday cake. A young boy no older than 7 clutched his baby sister against his chest, trying to cover her ears as the gunfire grew louder, closer, relentless. Every shot felt personal. Every bullet felt like it carried intention. Then the shooters stepped inside. Witnesses described them as silhouettes, faceless, silent, moving with a terrifying steadiness. They raised their weapons toward families scrambling for cover beneath tables, behind chairs, behind one another. One child tried to run back to his mother. He didn't make it before another round tore through the air. A father threw himself across to little girls, whispering, close your eyes," even as shrapnel sliced into his back. The chaos was indescribable, and yet, those who survived remember every second with haunting clarity. The smell of gunpowder mixing with spilled fruit punch. A birthday candle still flickering on the table. A cluster of balloons drifting upward, strings catching on a broken light fixture. A woman's voice cracking as she screamed for her daughter. A man crawling, trying to reach his nephew, powerless against the tide of bullets. And then, suddenly, as quickly as it began to silence, the shooters fled. Tires screeched. The vehicles vanished into the night. Inside the hall was a different world now, a world ripped apart. 4 lives were gone. 3 were children. 13 others lay injured across the floor, some conscious, some fading, some barely recognizable under the wreckage of what had been a party minutes earlier. A mother pressed her trembling hands against her son's chest, whispering that help was coming. A teenage girl sobbed into her father's shirt, her ears ringing from the blasts. Someone shouted for anyone who knew CPR. Someone else dialed 911 with shaking fingers, repeating the same sentence over and over. There are kids, please. There are kids, please hurry. The first police officers to arrive later described the scene as one of the worst they had ever witnessed. Officers stepped through overturned chairs and shattered decorations with disbelief carved across their faces. They moved quickly, but each movement seemed painfully slow against the weight of the tragedy. Paramedics carried children who had been laughing minutes earlier. Others were treated on the floor as their parents knelt beside them, refusing to let go. Outside, the parking lot filled with flashing lights. Neighbors poured out of their homes, hands over their mouths, trying to grasp the impossible truth that one of the deadliest shootings of the year had erupted at a child's birthday celebration. The news spread quickly across California, then across the country. People watched footage of balloons tangled in police tape. They heard the trembling voices of family members describing the terror. They listened to officials struggle to hold back tears as they confirmed the numbers: 4 dead, 3 innocent children, and at least 13 wounded. And as the days passed, grief settled over Stockton like a blanket too heavy to lift. The city gathered to mourn. Teddy bears and flowers piled outside the event hall. Parents held their own children a little tighter. Schools opened counseling lines. At vigils, candles flickered in the cold wind as names were read aloud, names of children whose futures were stolen in seconds. The community asked the questions that so many American communities have asked before: how, why, how many more times? But answers did not come quickly. Investigators traced leads, searching for the motive. Was it a targeted attack, a feud, a mistake, a warning? As pieces began to emerge, the nation was forced to confront an uncomfortable reality that even the most innocent gatherings, even a toddler's birthday party, were not free from the reach of gun violence. And in living rooms across the country, parents watched the news and wondered if it could happen to them. If safety had become an illusion. If childhood had become a battleground. For the families in Stockton, the tragedy will never fade. The event hall will never look the same. The sound of popping balloons will never be innocent again. Every November, the memory will return: the laughter, the light, the love, and the moment it shattered. A child's birthday should mark life, not death. But on November 29, 2025, in Stockton, California, the unimaginable became real. And the echoes of that night, the screams, the shots, the heartbreak, continue to ripple outward, reshaping a community, fueling a national conversation, and reminding the country of a truth many wish they could forget: when gunfire enters a room full of children, it doesn't just steal lives, it steals something from all of us.